Hello, it's Mike Sherman. I'm the service manager here in Houston. I'm going to go over today how to set up a customer in RazorSync for GenMonitor and GenMonitor billing, so that way we can go ahead and get everybody on the same page. Right here I have a customer by the name Michael Sherman. I went ahead and just set one up just so we can go ahead and go through it and set everything up. Right here in their service request history, we have already installed their GenMonitor. That number will be on this, just to use as an example. We'll change the customer name here to GenMonitor number, and it can be whatever it is, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just to use another one. I'll go ahead and put that there. I'll also typically go ahead and put the GenMonitor number here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and put it there. That way we have as much information as we can. If this was set up correctly and we did an install, we would also already have a serial number for that generator of 300, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. And so we'll have the notes on there. Typically I'll use that spot also if I have a technician that works very well with the customer. I'll go ahead and put that there also. That way, if your future call outs or anything like that, if that technician works really well with the customer, or they're a little more difficult with the customer, we'll put some notes there so that we have, when we schedule them, we know where we're looking. But that's on a different video. So on this one, we're going to go ahead and set up a GenMonitor contract. There's a couple ways to do this. One of them is setting up templates. We do have these templates set up already for all the way up to the, I believe, the 48 kW for annual and monthly billing, depending on how we want it. But I'm going to go ahead and break it down and do the long version, and on another video I will talk about setting up templates. So on this one, we're going to go ahead and start out fresh. We're going to assume that this customer is paying $37 a month, and they're going to continue on as long as they continue paying. So the very first thing we'll do is go down here to our work order template. We will type in GenMon, and we'll pull up their billing. So we're going to charge $37 a month. We'll put this in a template. Now I do want to explain, when we get done, we must go in and delete this template, or every time we create a new service request for this customer, that template will be on that service request. So we don't want that to continue on. We just want to use it for this one time, so we always have to delete that. If we don't delete it, it'll always be on there, and we'll always have to go back out and delete it. And trust me, this is from personal experience, and it becomes a pain in the butt when you got to delete them out one by one. So the next thing we're going to do right here is we will type in, each location is going to do it a little different, but we can just do GenMon contract, 22 kW, monthly billing. The more information you put in here, the better, but you're going to want it to be standard, because as you grow and get bigger and you pull reports, you kind of want it to look the same. So whoever's creating this, if they can use the same terminology every time, it would be much better for you. When you set up your templates, you can set them up to, like this one, the same template would be a GenMon monthly right here. And that way they all look exactly the same each time. So our start date, we installed this monitor on this date. You can put whatever start date you want onto it. If you installed that monitor on the 1st, you can just put the 1st right here, put the 1st right here, put their address in, and then we're going to go to recurrence. Okay, so we're going to assume that they installed it, a week ago, and it's been a couple days since it got installed, but now it's time to go ahead and start the billing. It happens all the time, usually a couple days later before we start the billing. We'll hit recurrence. The field worker is always going to be your accounting department. That is who needs to be aware that there is a work order that was created. Okay, so it always has to be your accounting department. On this particular one, we said it's going to be monthly billing, so we're going to put it occurs on the first day every 1 month. Now, if it was yearly, we would put, it'd be on the first day every 12th month from our start date right here. But on this particular one, it's just going to be monthly, so we're going to set it up like that. And then our end date. You can add 3 years at a time, and so we're going to always put 3 years. Your time period doesn't really matter. You can make it 8 o'clock in the morning if you want. It can just be 12 a.m. That doesn't matter. But this is what your recurrence page would look like. There are a couple issues I do want to describe here. Number one, I would always try to start your billing either on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month. The reason I say that is because we started off originally doing it whatever day it was that we created this. A lot of times it was on the 31st day of March or the 30th day of November. There is a quirk in the system when it comes to RazorSync, and it won't put that billing on for like February. You have 28 days. For some reason, it'll always shoot it over to the next month, and it'll really kind of mess up your bookkeeping with accounting in QuickBooks. So it'll always bill, you'll always get the money, but if you do it on the 1st and the 15th, then you'll know what your bills are coming in, what your receivables are coming in. You know on the 1st and the 15th of each month you'll be getting a bulk of your receivables. So I would go ahead and just going forward, starting fresh, even wherever you're at, I would go ahead and start creating those to be the 1st and the 15th. On this particular one, we'll do the 15th. Right here we'll hit create, and then we'll create again. Now it's going to kick us over to the schedule page because we're actually creating work orders when we do this. So it's going to kick us back over to the schedule page. It's going a little slow because I'm recording, but for the most part this is it. I'll go ahead and double click on here, and this breaks everything out. Now as I look down here in my middle for my work order history, I have a whole bunch of incomplete jobs assigned to the accounting department. Now this is perfect. This is exactly the way it should look. Everything's good to go. Now since I went ahead and started it on the 1st, I do need to go ahead and edit this and change this to the first one, complete, ready to invoice, and update it. Now when your accounting department or whoever it is that's in charge of the accounting part, when they run a sync, this will automatically bill their credit card that's on file. Now since this is the first one we're setting up, we should always go ahead, since we have it ready to invoice, we'll go ahead and invoice it. You can hit more, it'll open up a second page. Typically I hit OK, and then I'll just click on the name and head back over to the customers page. When I do that, I'll go down here to invoice history. Since there is no credit card on file here yet, this is where I would do this. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll hit payment, process payment now, and always, always, always put card on file. Even if this is a customer that is not typically going to be recurring charges like this, we typically put the card on file because these customers call in a lot. They call in, say they get a one-time maintenance, they'll call in a couple months later because there's a problem with their generator. This way we just have the credit card on file. It's a lot easier. If they do have an email address in there, it will send them an email saying that, you know, we appreciate their business, we put their card on file for future work or whatever. Hit OK. And we go to the credit card page. Fill out the credit card information, whatever you want to put on there, and you submit it, and it'll say that everything was right here. This one's saying it was canceled because I canceled it, but yours will typically say, you know, payment completed, everything's good. Once that happens, now that credit card's on file. So each day, and again, if you do this on the 1st and the 15th, like I said, then you only have to do this twice a month. If you put them all throughout the month, each and every day, then every day somebody's got to go into schedule. They need to open up the accounting work orders on here. And on this one, I'm going to go ahead and filter it. I'm going to put none, and I'm just going to open up my accounting. As you can see on my accounting, we have tons of them. So as I scroll down, you can see that there's, like I said, when we first started off, doing it on the 1st and the 15th was not something we did very often. So each day we have to go in here. We would click on this one. We would have to go in here, edit it, make a complete ready to invoice, and update it. So this one's already been done. Girls had done it yesterday. So let's go back to my timeline and we'll look for, see if they've done tomorrow. They've already done tomorrow's. I can tell because we color code everything. Okay, so here's on Friday. Nobody's done Friday yet. So what someone's gonna have to do, which I'll probably do this tomorrow, they'll come into each one of these, and it's painstaking the way it's being done. When you have to do it every day, it is a real problem. If you can do this just two days out of the month and take an hour each day to do it, it's not nearly as bad. You have to edit, complete, ready to invoice, update. Go back to timeline and do the next one. That's all you have to do. You do not have to follow through and invoice all of these. When you run your sync to QuickBooks, it'll automatically charge all these credit cards. So you don't have to go through and do them individually as far as running it. Okay, now here's a good one. I'm glad I came to it. So one of the things we talked about earlier was that you have to go in and delete that. When you're on your main page, you had to go in and delete that one service form. Now, the one I had talked about was the $37 a month. But when we first originally started this, someone thought it would be a great idea to put a service form on here and do a recurrence for their billing. Or recurrence for their maintenances. When they did that, it thought it was a great idea, but really not. Because what it does, before I can change that to incomplete to complete, all of this has to be filled out or this has to be deleted. So I'll go in and delete, hit OK. And now I can change this from incomplete. Now it gives me the other options to change it to a complete one, which would be complete ready to invoice is what we did. So yes, it does a little time consuming to do this, but if you're scheduling them for 2 days out of the month on the 1st and the 15th, it will not be a big deal. Even with the amount that we do, it would still, plenty of people here. I believe I'm somewhere around 4,000 customers that are billing monthly. Okay, I have another couple thousand that are billing annually, but the most bulk of ours are billing monthly. So we have to do this once a month on the 1st and the 15th. Always, always, always schedule these for the 1st and the 15th. As of that is pretty much how to do it. After, it'll automatically sync and run those credit cards. And we'll see you on the next video.